Hi there, VC. It's Steve Whitty here. Tuesday morning, sun is rising, so it's probably might affect the picture quality a little bit. Um, Time to do another video, I think, and it's sort of like I'm trying to catch up on some threads that have been floating around. Um, this one's the A to Z of favourite bands. Um, I've watched quite a few of these. I can't remember who triggered this off. Some very interesting ones of these. So, without further ado, not going to make it too long. This video is I'll show you my A to Z. So, what better place to start than A? After much thought and deliberation, I've gone for ABBA, and that's purely the consistency of their music. Particularly, in the 70s, I was very pop orientated, and they were always on the radio, always on top of the pops. So yeah, that's why I've gone for A. A lot of what I'm going to choose is probably because I've been listening to a lot of these certain artists, and so that's in my conscience a bit. Excuse me. Did you know it's National Tea Day in the UK today? B, I've gone for Bebop Deluxe, and this is probably an example of a band I've been listening to a fair bit recently, and so suddenly they've gone in like the consciousness as being my favourite band for that letter. C, I've gone for the Cars. I think a band that's much maligned, underrated in the UK, but you listen to their back catalogue and actually, I think there's a good set of quality there with their tunes. D, and this is more harking back to my youth a little bit. I've gone for Def Leppard. I used to listen to them a lot. Yes, they're more bands like the Doors, but I've never listened to all the back catalogue of the Doors, so it's very hard where Def Leppard's always stuck in my mind. Another band that's stuck in my youth when my mate did all these mixtapes of this band, E, Emerson, Lake and Palmer. This is their trilogy album, the third studio album. I just always found something connected with their musicianship. In a way, it was my window into prog. I was that kind where I dismissed prog. Bands like Yes, Genesis. I was starting to get into Genesis, but partly because they were having hits. This is full blown 70s prog. This was my real introduction. F, I've gone for the Faces. Good time, rock and roll. Great musicianship, great singer. Always sounded loose yet tight, if you know what I mean. Always a good time, sounded like they were having a good time. G, again, harking back to my youth, and when I was 16, this was an album I played a lot of, the Future Shock Gillan. So G is for Gillan, Ian Gillan's band, very popular. For some reason, between 1980 and 1982, they were always on top of the pops. They were always having minor hit singles. They were prolific. They released about 3 or 4 albums during this period. And when they toured, we weren't talking about playing the major cities. I remember the tour shirt I had for the Double Trouble tour, and there's got to be about 30 or 40 dates they did in the UK on its own. So it was like they were a hard-working band. Obviously, they imploded when Ian Gillan decided to go and join Black Sabbath, and it sort of ended quite badly with other members. H, I've gone for Hawkwind. So yeah, a band that slowly getting more into, but they've sort of taken over this in the psyche of things. H for Hawkwind. Band that have grown recently to I've sort of ignored them at the time is Icicle Works, a band from Liverpool. Ian McNabb was the lead, was sort of like the main writer, the guitarist. Zach Starkey drummed with the band for a certain period of time. This is the presently named If You Want to Defeat Your Enemy, Sing His Song. That's because it's got Evangeline and the wonderful Understanding Jane on this. J, I've gone for The Jam, a band from my youth that's always stuck with me. Great singles band. I didn't really get the albums, but I always brought the singles when they came out. Absolutely wonderful stuff. Paul Weller is he's probably what I call a national treasure. He's been with me pretty much all the time that I've been listening and buying music. And there are not many. I have to say, there's not that many artists. So I didn't really get into the Beatles till quite late. So he's always been with me. Okay, I've gone for Kiss. I've always had a soft spot for Kiss. Perennial favourites. They're always a go-to band to listen. L sort of reflects that band I've been listening to a lot recently, and I've gone Lynyrd Skynyrd. This is their, I think, the third studio album, Nothing Fancy. It's just good time rock and roll. You can take all the thing with the flag and everything, but it's not. I don't delve into that. If you start delving into things that are unpleasant about people, music, and things you don't like, you wouldn't listen to anything, to be honest. I've gone for Mott the Hoople. There's this greatest hits here. The band there. A good starting point if you've not heard any Mott the Hoople, got any Mott the Hoople, you get hold of this greatest hits album. Really, dare I say, it's that. There's plenty of bands that have been classed as that link between rock and punk. Definitely a band that could cut it live. Obviously, where Bowie was a big fan of theirs and gave them All the Young Dudes. We gave them a choice of two songs, All the Young Dudes and Suffragette City, and they chose All the Young Dudes. But didn't hang on to his coattails too long. And The Nice. Sort of like carrying on from the Emerson, Lake and Palmer backing band originally for P.P. Arnold, gradually took over the slots. This is a really good pop psych album, actually. The thoughts of Emilis Davjak. I've gone for Orchestral Manoeuvres in the Dark, OMD. This is their Dazzle Ships album, their most experimental album, actually, where they got to sort of act out the fantasy of being Kraftwerk, absolutely stiffed. After the back of Architecture and Morality, it just didn't do anything at all for them, unfortunately. And then they went in a poppier vein, which I didn't go along with. P, and again, P is going to represent what I've been listening to a lot, and that's the Pentangle. Recently picked up a couple of their albums and been listening to a lot of them. I've always liked them. I've got a comp as well. Just a bit of a. It's more than just folk. There's elements of jazz in there. Oh, excuse me. It is early in the morning. I don't think my throat's cleared. That's better. Oh, hopefully it will hold out for the rest of the video. So Pentangle, as I said, mixture of folk, jazz, very acoustic based. It's very absolute wonderful listen. Q, well, It wasn't a contest. So it's just a case of showing them an album by them. I don't think anyone has seen been shown. That's Queen's. That's Innuendo. Their last album to come out while Freddie Mercury was alive. Wonderful album. Wonderful album. It's almost like they were back to form with this. Obviously, at the time of release, nobody knew what was really happening with Freddie Mercury. So there's my cue. And those that know me very well know what's going to come for R. That's Rush. So yeah, there was no surprise there. This is their Signals album from '82, which probably is the biggest change in direction they ever did, where the synths really came out more and the guitar sort of honed back a little bit. Still a great album. Next lot will sort of reflect my youth a little bit more. I've gone for Slade. This is the Sladeist compilation, and I believe this is the American one on the Reply edition on the Reprise label. Just a great band. Again, memories at Top of the Pops. How can you not like them? You might have to excuse the glare a little bit here. There you go. Yeah. It's fair to say they've got the looks that only a mother could love. Wonderful band. It is sad that seems to have imploded badly with Don and Dave, but you know. And my first musical hero, T-Rex, Mark Bolan there, the Slider album. I am reading, just about to finish the glam rock or Orange Shock, the sort of glam rock story. Simon Reynolds, I've just been on the last couple of chapters of that at the moment, and he obviously big bearing in my life. Mark Bolan, T-Rex. Probably the first time when he died, I experienced loss as well. I've gone for the Undertones. Again, a band that gave me a lot of pleasure in my youth. Everyone knows Teenage Kicks, but they made some great music. The problem they had was that everyone wanted to still hear Teenage Kicks, Jimmy, My Perfect Cousin, and so they wanted the band to keep making that. And the band were growing up as much as I was, but unfortunately the audience didn't want to allow them to grow up, and it was a shame that they split up. I would have been seeing them next month at the Bearded Theory Festival, because that's been postponed to September, I believe. That might not happen. Hopefully, that if it does go ahead, they'll be still on the bill. Obviously, Fergal Sharkey no longer sings with them. I think he really sort of disowned the Undertones as soon as he left. Van Halen. Not really much of a choice for V. They sort of stood out a little bit. Again, sort of reflects that I've been listening to a little bit of them quite a lot recently. The Who, the Horrible Who. I brought this the day this album, My Generation reissue. I walked past HMV. It was the day that we were told we'd got to start working from home, and so I thought I'd stop off at HMV. You got glare. I've still got it in the shrink. So I brought this reissue, and it was only about $7.99 off My Generation. It just plugged the gap that was there. I think what I'm going to show you now to finish it off is going to be quite obvious. X is XTC. This is their debut album. White Music. Wonderful band. Very inventive band. Sort of reinvented itself on the go. particularly as they stopped touring after the English Settlement album. But yeah, really good band, some great songs. Don't really still be going though. That's a bit of a shame, but you know. Why? I've gone to Yes, Fragile album. I've got into Yes sort of later, as I mentioned about Emerson, Lake and Palmer. I had a bit of a sort of denial about prog music, and it's only because when I got into more like Genesis and Emerson, Lake and Palmer that I then delved into Yes, and grew to like what I heard. So for Y, Yes, and then for Z, as much as I thought about including Zodiac Mind Warp and the Love Reaction, just gone for the obvious here, or ZZ Top, or ZZ Top as we pronounce it over here. This is Fandango album, their half live, half studio album. I'm playing this over the weekend. That was quite obvious to go for. It's good, but good broad catalogue of music. That was the word I was trying to think of. It's so early in the morning. I've got things to do before I even think about starting for work. So yeah, that is my alphabet of my favourite bands. Nothing too groundbreaking, I think. Pretty standard fare. Big thank you to all those I've had little hiking subscriptions. So thank you for those new subscribers. If you're new to the channel and you like what you see, click on the subscribe button. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Love the interaction. Could do with a shave, I just realised. Feel free to leave a comment. I will get back to you. I've got to catch up on some comments from Sunday's video. So whatever you get up to VC today, it looks like the sun's going to be still shining in the UK, which is hard to believe when I see people in the USA and you've had snow. Oh dear. Sorry about that. Yeah, so whatever you get up to, whether it be at work or you've got work on, just really try and relax and enjoy it. I got mentioned on the radio yesterday as well, so it was all good at the moment. So whatever you get up to, make sure you have a good day. So look after yourselves, keep spinning, more importantly, keep smiling.